I think we will assign Commissioner Williams to that. And then he can opine on it at the next meeting. Fair? Are we all in agreement? Great. So I don't think there's necessarily any action at this point to take, formally.
Yeah, my suggestion is we captured the notes that you and suggestions that you've made. We'll come back to you with a final version
Yes.
for your adoption at next meeting in May.
Yes, next meeting. I will request that it be agendized at the proper time, but I'm doing that now as well.
And also, if other harbor commissioners have any suggested objectives, I would say get them to the ad hoc.
For sure. That'd be great. I think it's a good point. I think, you know, if something comes up regarding state lands, it's either going to fall under functional area 1 or 5, but, you know, and it could also fall under 2, given the reason, you know, it's just going to depend on what the inquiry is related to. Okay.
Just a quick comment real quick, Commissioner. Here, we discussed also in 3, we put some verbiage in there about, you know, because we did want to capture the tidelands and how important to have a focal point that is. And so I think we listed it under there, so although it covers all of them, maybe we should definitize that a little bit more before our next meeting, where you want that to fit.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, meaning that we, you know, Vice Chairman Marston's comment was, hey, it fits in 5. Okay, it's part of 1. And when we all got together as an ad hoc committee, we're like, oh, well, we're going to put it under sustainability because the long-term implications of the tidelands and how do we interface with that. And so, like I said, I think we should just definitize that. Maybe staff has some input of where that functional area could be more finite as it relates to tidelands specifically. I don't have the answer for it, just thoughts about when we were discussing it, that's where we kind of landed between the 3 of us.
Understood. I'm not sure how to tighten it up. I'm open to suggestions. I do think as the issues come up, it might be clear where they will lie.
I agree with that.
You know, but please, if you've got any language, just share it and we can incorporate it.
That's great, thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, so no action, moving on to item 6.4, I believe. Ad hoc committee updates. So several ad hoc committees have been established to address short-term projects outside of the Harbor Commission objectives. This is the time the ad hoc committees will provide an update on their projects. So we've had 4 ad hoc committees this past year or so. Now we're down to 2, as half been completed. So one of them is the Balboa Ferry Ad Hoc Committee. We've got, if there's any updates there from any of the respective commissioners on that. Commissioners Yuan, Sverchek, Secretary Scully, any updates on that?
I do have one, and I've met with several of the stakeholders of the ownership. They're very comfortably moved along with funding in the 10+ million range. They haven't yet had new boat designs, but they know they have had enough now they can submit for reimbursements towards a grant fund that will basically allow what they believe will be a complete rebuild of all boats, as well as the electrical stations on shore. So I think it's a very favorable place. It's sort of confirmed now through the EPA and the CARB together. Kind of was more driven by EPA than CARB. And I think the owners are in a good position at this point. I actually believe, and I would like to defer to my colleagues, Scully or Sverchek, about potential of removing this ad hoc committee. I think, unless you feel like you would like to keep it on for monitoring the progress, but that's my report.
We talked about this, I think, in the last meeting, I just, you know, we kind of bantered about it a little bit, but I don't think it hurts to leave it on.
Okay.
And let's hear about the design and the, the timing of moving to construction and to getting there. Maybe, I don't think it takes much time up, but it's something that I think everybody's interested in hearing about.
Okay, I'm agreeable.
All right. Any commissioners have any questions or comments related to that item? I have one. Just curious, I know that the grant is somewhere in the $10, $11 million range. I'm just curious, is that covering all the cost of three? I think there's 3 vessels and the charging stations, or is there additional private funds that have to accompany that?
I think it's almost meant to cover every last dollar. They don't have the exact budget of the boats, however, so it's a little bit of a moving target. They've given them initial funding. They believe that if there's scope creep on the cost of building the boats, that grant will have the ability to go upwards with certain, kind of, requests of the state. So I guess there's still some open-ended and it's still relatively vague, but it's a positive direction.
Great. Thank you. The next ad hoc committee is the Harbor Commission objectives, and we just went over that, so that's the update there. Do we have any public comments with respect to the ad hoc committee updates? Seeing none, no action. Receive and file. Moving on to the formal Harbor Commission 2024 objectives. I will quickly go through them, and I would like to say on item number 1, which is the annual review of Title 17 updates to City Council, I would like to declare that complete if Commissioners Miller and Yan accept that. Okay, so we will declare that complete. Thank you. Anything to add on the collaboration with Water Quality or Coastal Tidelands Committee from Commissioners Scully or Sturgeon? Nothing?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
I did attend the last water quality meeting,
Great.
and I think one thing that what I found the most interesting was the Newport Bay trash interceptor update. So how it performed over the last storm season of 25-26. So I just have a few bullet points. They collected 62 tons of debris over that rainy season, so pretty significant. Now, they estimate, they weren't sure exactly the breakdown of the natural trees and shrubs and bushes versus plastic items, but they think it's roughly 70 to 75% of the natural shrubs and sticks and stuff. Still a huge number. They gained a lot of knowledge. They spent a lot of time talking about what they've learned over these seasons, and when the rain, there's not much activity if there's no rain. When the rain comes, it's the whole system is really kind of overwhelmed with how much stuff they have to deal with. So they talked a lot about learning and how they're going to increase the efficiencies of the operation, how they're collecting data to try to determine specifically how much stuff, where is it coming from. Some of the items that they were collecting, the biggest item of debris was plastic bottles, then styrofoam bottle caps, plastic bags and all. They had a queen-size mattress that came down the creek, tires and wheels, so they have all sorts of stuff. They are also, they have just installed an AI camera so they can really analyze the debris. So, and I added to the conversation that I'm out in the bay probably 3 weeks out of every month, and during the rainy season, I just noticed it was a huge improvement. The matter of, logs and shrubs and bottles and everything, I could really visually tell. So it's moving in a great direction, and you know, I don't know, it started sometime quite a few years ago, and I'm not sure who to really thank, who really championed the Interceptor. I think Duffy was involved, but I'm not sure really who we can thank for a great job. Andy?
Yeah, former Mayor Duffield was the spearhead. Former Mayor Dixon was the one who really got the money. So they collaborated. It was really Duffy's idea, and Diane had the muscle and wherewithal to find the funds to actually do it. So the two of them are more responsible.
Well, it's moving in a great direction, so thank you.
Great update, thank you. Regarding any opportunities to add additional harbor services, that's an objective. Commissioners Yan and Vice Chair Marston, anything to add to that this evening? Okay. Commissioner Scully, anything on participation with any businesses, nonprofits, Harbor Department Safety Committee and so on?
Yeah, I do have a quick PowerPoint presentation I'd like to do. We talked in our last meeting if we wanted to work on a rental safety program, and that there was pretty much an agreement across the board of the dais of the Harbor Commission. So we said to go back to the Safety Committee and come up with a plan. So just kind of just a kind of an outline, just to make sure we're on the right path here, and really interested to hear from the Harbor Commission as well as from the Harbor Master. So, what we're facing here is, we talked about the California Boater Safety Card, and California law exempts rental customers from having to take that safety course and get the safety card. This means that the least experienced boaters in Newport Harbor have no standardized safety training before taking a paddleboard, a kayak, an electric boat, a outboard boat, and the likes. Newport Harbor is one of the most complex, high-traffic coastal harbors in California, and so there's a lot of moving parts. And what we're faced with, the challenges, is that navigating the mooring fields and the dense vessel traffic in the harbor, the ferry and the commercial vessel right-of-way, currents and wind conditions, stand-up paddleboard safety in congested areas. We see it in the Harbor Master's report all the time, where harbor safety officers are helping these people get back to the rental location because they can't get back there. We're dealing with driving too fast in the harbor, and there's no emergency or man overboard procedures. So the thought process is to work on a safety video, 5-10 minute Newport Harbor specific video, covering navigation rules, mooring fields, ferry traffic, PFDUs, currents, wind, and emergency procedures. Try to have a 8 to 10 question, just part of the video, we can talk a little bit more in the next item on it, but and customers get a timestamp completion token or an ability to show a rental operator that they've passed this safety orientation video and test, and is it capable of being delivered through the city's existing harbor app or via QR code. Try not to get too crazy and too expensive, but integrate it with the city and make it simple, easy, quick, but give people an opportunity to have a little bit of knowledge before they go out into the harbor. Next slide. So, we've talked about the concept. We've heard it to the Safety Committee. We need to determine the feasibility. Will City Council fund it, production and build it, and then launch it harbor-wide? So really the next steps are this, the Safety Committee to develop a detailed scope and requirements, engage Harbor Master Blank and city staff to review this and review its feasibility. Is it something that can be done, and support from the city, and then concurrently consult with rental operators for their input and honestly their buy-in. Next slide. So the timing here is probably pretty close, but I mean we can keep it moving along. steps will be to spend a little bit of time with Harbor Master Blank and kind of walk through it and see if he believes it's something that the city would endorse and city council would fund and agree to. Next slide. So what, really we want to provide a benefit, a gain to the operators in Newport Harbor, having a documented safety record for every customer, strong reliability protection in the event of an incident, have a harbor-wide standard, levels the playing field, get the city to fund it and have zero production costs to the rental operators. No change to hands-on vessel briefing when they're there to do it, but this would supplement it and elevate the professional reputation for safety in the harbor. We talked about the engagement, and I think is that it. So that's really it. So I want to continue to kick this thing down the road. I'll spend some time with Harbor Master Blank on this, and we'll keep the Harbor Commission updated as we continue to move this along.
Great presentation. Any comments from commissioners on that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think we really need to do this. Question, do we have different presentations or different tests? We have Duffy Rentals, stand-up paddleboard rentals, wave runners, and so there's all different type of vessels. Do we have different tests?
Well, we're not there yet. So that's why I want to spend some time with Harbor Master Blank, and we need to kind of lay it out. Is it high level and kind of generic to all rental operators, or is it segmented by human-powered craft, motorized vessels? I'm just thinking out the scope. So.
Okay. Commissioner Miller, anything?
Not for me.
Commissioner Young?
When you're talking about funding of production, I mean, basically we're talking about making a video, right? The cost of the city is putting this video together and distributing it, or having maybe technology that allows you to take tests via tokens, which I think is a really cool idea. Is there any general idea of what that cost might look like?
Well, I don't have any idea. I couldn't tell you what, the question is, could we integrate it into existing technology that the Harbor Department utilizes and the city utilizes? And so I don't know what that really means as far as a cost to have have that integrated in there and have it easy enough to where the rental operators point their customers to it.
Right.
And it takes
Like a QR code and it goes online.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm only saying this because I believe it's an inevitable cost for the true benefit it would offer.
I don't disagree with it.
For the maps, for safety of others, people, bystanders, etc. So, love the idea, and I like the work you put into it so far. Thank you.
Vice Chair Marston? Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Anything to add on objective number 7? Department readiness and so on?
Nothing to add right now.
Okay. And I don't think there's anything to add on updating to RGP 54, but I'll ask Commissioners Miller and Spurcheck if there's any updates on that. Just seeing none. Any public comments with respect to the objectives that we just went over this evening? Seeing none, we'll receive and file and move on to the Harbor Master update. And as most of us know, the Harbor Master oversees the City Harbor Department and is responsible for the management of the city's mooring fields and Balboa Yacht Basin Marina, provides invaluable support for the Harbor Commission, municipal code enforcement, safety, rescue operations, management of Marina Park, and much, much, much more, for which this commission is extremely grateful. This report will update the Harbor Commission and the public on the Harbor Department's recent activities.
Good evening once again, Paul Blank, your Harbor Master. I'm going to turn it right over to Chris Miller, and he's going to talk about the dredging.
Thank you. I'm going to switch screens here really quick to a bigger version of the same map. So our dredging project is going really well. in the past month, the contractor dredged along the access channel from the green stripe, right where the anchorage is, and dredged very quickly down the center of the channel to the Marina Park area. They only dredged the center channel, and they didn't really dredge it to grade at that. But the goal was to get to Marina Park, to dredge Marina Park to 19th Street, which is a Port of Long Beach material. And remember that our deadline from the Port of Long Beach to have all of our material disposed there is June 1st. So this is welcome news. This was welcome news to have them quickly go there, which really means they're somewhere in the order of 5 weeks or so ahead of schedule. And they're currently dredging that material now, and will probably be done for the most part within about 2 weeks. So around mid-April or so, with maybe second or third week in April or sooner, they'll be done with that area, absent of coming back to do some cleanup work as needed. So it's really welcome news. And then we'll be done with disposing of the material at the Port of Long Beach, and then we can focus back on the rest of the channels. And as you'll see on the map, the purple area is the what we call the yacht anchorage area, and we're going to focus on that area immediately after finishing in front of Marina Park and the beach up to 19th Street. I need to acknowledge that this is a team effort, and we wouldn't be having our project be as successful as it is now without the Harbor Department's teamwork in assisting with this. They've done an absolutely fantastic job of managing the moorings and the relocation of moorings and adjustment to the moorings. You can only imagine, I'll zoom in here, but this area in purple has roughly 55 or so moorings that needed to be removed. And I've done this before. I did it in 2012, and it's no easy feat, so I can speak from experience how difficult and challenging it is. And their team has done a fantastic job. In fact, this mooring field, as of this afternoon, should be 100% clear or thereabouts. And also, very, very happy to report that for many years while planning this project, it was always the intention, and we wrote it into the specs going back to 2022, that we would try our best to coordinate this dredging with Newport Harbor Yacht Club's Baldwin Cup race. The Baldwin Cup race is when the yacht club normally clears the mooring fields themselves for 1 week of racing directly in that yacht anchorage area. But what they do is they just move the boats temporarily for about 7 to 10 days, and they sink their moorings so they don't remove them. The intention that in a perfect world we would coordinate and have both the Baldwin Cup and the dredging coincide at the same time, and indeed we are in that perfect world, because the Baldwin Cup starts on Sunday. The entire mooring field has been removed, including weights and tackle and buoys, and they'll have their race, and then we will do some survey work immediately after, and within about a week of the race ending, we'll be in there dredging, which is really great news, right after the Port of Long Beach material. I don't know how long that will take, but my instinct and memory would give it 5 to 6 weeks in there, somewhere in that time frame. It might even go quicker because we might be able to really utilize the short trip to LA3, which is 6 miles offshore, and really increase the scows per day from 2 to 2.5 or 2 to 3. So that takes us, I think that's a good update. That takes us for the next maybe a month and a half or so. I'll zoom back out. When I said that the contractor quickly dredged the yellow access channel just follow my mouse, that's, I mean, from here all the way to Marina Park, if you can see my mouse on the screen. They'll have to go back and re-dredge that and complete that project. But that's okay. That is I'm not gonna say a low priority area, but after the material that has the time window at Port of Long Beach, all material is, we're not really on a schedule per se. The contractor indeed has a schedule, but we're not up against, we don't have our backs up against the wall. So they will get to that in due time as their schedule dictates. They are currently scheduled to be dredging until, call it somewhere in the mid-September range, barring any other unforeseen issues. So we will be seeing them in the harbor for many more months. But we've done this before. We have, under circumstances where we did not have a harbor department, we do have a harbor department now that will help keep our eyes and ears on the water. So we do have that. And so I'm excited for this summer because we will be able to make this happen. We have great relationships with our junior sailing programs and the nighttime weekly regatta race committees and so on and so forth. So we will survive. And with that, that concludes my part of the presentation, and happy to answer questions.
Commissioners?
So it sounds like you're moving along, but better than schedule. What's your estimated completion for the whole dredging project?
About mid-September or so.
Thanks.
Chris, Balboa Yacht Basin, is it done?
Oh yes, Balboa Yacht Basin is done. In fact, the city council is going to approve a notice of completion coming up here in a couple of weeks, and we finish that in early February.
Okay, and how about the bay on Linda?
Linda Isle, they're still ongoing right now. They've done a significant portion of the inner lagoon area, and right now they're currently dredging in front of people's homes or in the vicinity.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you seeing any people wanting to get dredging done at their homes and incorporating that material in?
In Linda Isle?
Or
anywhere.
Anywhere.
Not to piggyback off of no. The answer is no.
Okay.
The Linda Isle is a project is completely separate, and those folks are eager to have the contractor focus on their projects. And of course, the federal project is focused on that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
I don't have any questions. Great job though, Chris. Really, really great progress. Everyone asks about it all the time, and kind of fun to report, hey, we'll be done early, so.
Commissioner Young?
No comment.
Vice Chair Morrison?
I just have a question. How do you ascertain that they've reached the design depth at any given location before they move on? Is it by the amount that they pull out, or?
No.
Is it a survey? Or
Surveys. So the contractor does preliminary surveys with their boat, maybe on a daily or weekly basis when they get done with a smaller section, and that gives them an idea that, if they have a hump here or there that's detectable. But then when they're ready and they're ready to move on, then the Army Corps comes in with their survey, and then the Corps compares theirs, and then the project managers compare the Corps survey with the contractor's survey, and they negotiate how many cubic yardage to pay them for. So it's all done, the answer to your question, through bathymetry surveys, side scan surveys, type surveys for the depth.
and about how many yards does that barge hold when they leave? Do you know?
When they leave, they're typically, it's a 3,000 cubic yard capacity scow, disposal scow. But they don't fill it up to 3,000. They never do, they never would. But about 2,400 cubic yards, depends on the material, depends on the weight of the material, depends on the ratio of water to material. The fluffier material, so somewhere in the 2,400 range. That's a good estimation. And we're up to 86 scows to the Port of Long Beach. Around 160,000 cubic yards have been delivered there. And we're at 125 plus or minus cubic scows altogether for the project. And we're doing very, very nicely.
It sounds like it'll take a little over 400 scows for the whole project, based on 2,400 at 1,000,000 yards.
That's about 900,000 cubic yards.
So a little less.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. All right, thank you. I will let our harbor master continue with the report.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. I'll proceed with the regular organization of the Harbor Master's report on activities in March. Starting with clean, moving to safe, and then finally will enjoy and odds and ends, and then some statistics. In terms of keeping the harbor clean, lots of activity, a very robust staff report that you can read at your leisure. Here are some of the highlights. We did do 3 sessions of training for the CERT team. CERT is Community Emergency Response Team, so they're organized through the fire department.